Hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you spending some time with me today. So, if you've been following along in the journey so far, you know that we have gone through a couple different storage units. We were able to find some really interesting things in those units. We have some of that stuff has already been listed up on eBay. Some of it is sold, some of it is still out there for sale. But at the end of the day, we cherry picked some of the good things out and we ended up with a lot of just stuff left over. So that brought the whole plan to a kind of a screeching halt until we were able to unload some of that extra stuff. So you got a couple options, I guess. You can, donate it all, but we had not made it yet to that point where we had actually made money on these units. So that was kind of the goal, was to, obviously you want to make money on what you invest in. So we decided to do a flea market. We had a lot of stuff left over. We had a lot of really interesting stuff, stuff that I didn't think anybody would actually ever buy. So I just want to kind of take you on that part of the journey too, on exactly what we did with all that stuff, where we took it, how we got rid of it, and just see how we ended up at the end of the day. So if you stick around, we're going to go through all of that here in just a few minutes. Okay, so yeah, we ended up with two storage units. So let's see, we had $80 on one. We paid $60 for the other in winning bids. So that puts us at a grand total of $140 in bids. At the end of the day, we ended up actually, after fees and everything, we were closer to the $175 mark. And we ended up getting some really nice stuff out of there. But we did not get enough big things to put on eBay, or nice things to put on eBay, to cover the entire cost. So we ended up doing a flea market because we had a lot of just knick-knack household stuff that we had to do something with, right? So we could either donate it, or we could try to get rid of it, try to make a little bit of extra money on it. So that's the route we decided to go. So we got everything packaged up, took it up down the street to a local flea market, and that was actually a really cool experience. We had Baby G, and we had my wife Red come in and set up some tables, and we had a really good time. So we ended up having to pay $10 in order to rent a stall at the flea market. And what that got us was a covered awning, and that got us about 4 tables. We borrowed a van and ended up with 6 more tables, and we really just had a glorified garage sale. So it was actually really, really neat. We got to meet a lot of neat people, and it was amazing to see how much of that small, I guess I would call it knick-knack type things that actually people actually bought. So we were really excited, and we had a lot of fun. Basically what we did is we made our money back. We took the rest of the stuff out and donated it to Goodwill, and basically made room to come back and do it again. So at the end of the day, the experience we had was a lot of fun, and we're excited to do it again. Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Topher. I'm here very early in the morning. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. We're getting everything loaded up. We're gonna go hit the flea market for the first time ever. So everybody wish us luck. So this is what we have here. We're gonna try to get all this stuff sold today. Hopefully, if I have to, we'll give it away if I have to. I just don't want to bring it all back home, is the whole idea. It's the first really pretty day we've had since we've bought these lockers. So we're gonna hopefully have a lot of people out today. It's been either cold or rainy, so I'm praying for a little bit of cabin fever in everybody to get out. And we'll just see how it goes. We'll take a couple of shots while we're there, and we'll give it a go. We're up at 4 o'clock. Hopefully we get something out of it, or at least we end up with a lot less of it. I've got a couple bids on some other lockers right now, so we'll see what happens there. Hopefully this goes well for us, and we'll check back in as we go. I'll catch you guys later. All right, hey guys, what's going on? It's just under 8:30 right now. We finally got all set up. This is a really cool kind of place. You can see this is our little booth here that we have. We're all set up, ready to go. The flea market actually opens up at 9 o'clock, so we're getting close. We weren't real sure, so we got here a little bit too early, but it was nice to get here and get everything set up like we wanted it to be. So we'll give it a go. We'll see what it's like. It's still freezing. It's still not barely over freezing. It's like 34 degrees out here. Yeah, it's supposed to get up in the 50s, so hopefully we'll get a lot of people coming out and doing some shopping. So we'll see, and we'll check back in a little bit. Yeah, so the basic setup that we had at the flea market was we had 3 rows of essentially 3 tables. We had one whole side dedicated to just dollar. Everything on that whole side was just $1, and it had everything from candles to picture frames and coffee mugs and just the most random assortment of stuff. If you remember in that very first video we ended up with a lot of those little essential oils. That was all on there. We sold quite a few of those. So that was kind of all off to one side. Right up the middle of the 3 tables in the middle of the stalls, we had a lot of the winter coats that we ended up getting out of the storage units. Those 2 big totes or crates of records, and then we had about a table and a half worth of shoes. Remember that huge box of shoes? We went through and just tried to set up and pair up as many of those as we could and get those out so people could go through those. And then on the far right hand side of our stall, that was just clothes. Everything with the jeans, tops, dresses, just everything just placed out on a table. So here's what actually went. The dollar table, that made our money. It was amazing how much people bought of that. That was really the bread and butter of the whole deal. Yeah, so in that middle table, we ended up doing coats, winter coats, and then we had those 2 giant totes or crates of records. Remember, we got out of our second unit there. We ended up with a bunch of some really nice records. So, and then we had all the shoes. Now the records themselves, those were great. We did those for $1 a piece. We weren't looking to. I didn't go through them. I went through them, but I didn't go through and try to price them all different prices. It was the whole goal was to just get rid of as much stuff as possible. So we was $1 a record. We had several people come up and buy $10 worth of records, $5 worth of records. And then we had one gentleman come up and just say, what do you want for the rest of them? I'll take the rest of them. So we ended up selling everything that was left for $50. So that was a nice little hit that we had there. None of the shoes ended up going. We didn't sell any of the shoes. It's hard to tell. I know shoes, you got to have the right style, the right price, or not the right price, but the right size. So I could see where that would definitely be hit and miss. It was nice to have. We only priced them for a couple bucks. We weren't trying to, again, it didn't really matter what the brand was. They were all in fairly good shape. Some of them are really good shape. But we ended up not selling any of the shoes. And it's very similar with the clothes. So all of the clothes ended up on the other side. We tried to get them so that the denim pieces were all over in one spot. We had to try to keep we tried to keep the tops and dresses all in one spot. But at the end of the day, it was just, they didn't get a lot of attention. Not a lot of people looked through it. The couple people that did look through it bought a couple different things. We were doing jeans. I think they ended up being either $2 or $3, and really everything else out there was $1. Again, the whole goal here was not to make money on any one thing. It was to try to unload as much stuff as possible. So we were very much going on the quantity and not the quality of the sales we were trying to make. But not a lot of the clothes went. So, and then we took those couple, if you remember from the first unit, we had those wrought iron pieces, the big tall, the wine rack and the candle holder. We put those out front to try to draw some attention. Those went fairly early. I think we ended up doing those for $4 a piece or something like that. So all in all, we unloaded a lot of stuff. The knick-knack type stuff went just amazingly well. We brought very little of that back. We brought all the shoes back, a lot of the clothes back, most of the coats back. I don't think I sold but a couple coats, and I think we ended up with, I want to say 6 or 8 like winter warm coats. So we ended up bringing all of those back. The records went well, so we were excited about, about everything. So we paid the $10. We ended up bringing in, after we paid our $10, we ended up at about $135, I think, in sales at the end of the day, which is really good. So a couple things about the sale itself. The weather was freezing. It barely got above 35 degrees, I think, the whole time we were there. We gave up around 1:30, I think. The flea market actually closes at 4, but we'd had enough. We counted the money. We'd made our money, so we tapped out a little early. We probably could have stuck around and sold another little bit, but we were all freezing. So, all in all, it was a really good experience. We'll definitely do it again. We're definitely going to wait for a warmer day. So that may slow down some of the videos we do on the storage units until we actually get up into the springtime, summertime, where we can actually start rolling through some of these a little bit faster. But the experience itself was amazing. Like I said, $10, and we'll show a picture of the actual unit that we or the stall that we ended up renting. It was really cool. They had 3 or 4 of those like carport type covered stalls. And it was first come, first serve. If you got there early enough, you got one of those. If you didn't, you were out in kind of in the middle area. And really, the flea market itself was a storage facility. The people that are there permanently, they all had their units or all of their shops basically in a storage unit where they could just roll up the door. All of their merchandise was there. Some of them had tables. Some of them had really neat little, kind of like a screen door. Once you rolled up the big door, you went into the screen door and there was their shop. So it was a really good experience. A beautiful place. Everybody there was really cool. All of the other vendors were super nice, super helpful. Our stall mate right next door to us, it was her first time to do a flea market too. She ended up doing fairly well, a lot better than she thought she was going to do. She was doing some handmade art. And she was actually doing the art there. She had some stuff already made, and man, it was really cool. She was really neat. So we will definitely be doing this again. And it's just a matter of getting us into that time of the year where the weather's going to be consistently at least warm enough that we're not going to freeze to death. I think we started out about 4 o'clock in the morning, getting everything loaded up. We got there. I thought everything opened up at 8 o'clock. It ended up not opening up until 9 o'clock. So we got there an hour early, which was fine because it gave us plenty of time to kind of get the lay of the land. We got the nice little stall unit there before everybody else. So it was good. It was a great experience. We made our money back. We're in the money. And we ended up just taking everything. While we had the van, we ended up taking everything over to the Goodwill drop-off location and just unloaded probably, oh goodness, 4 or 5 of those big boxes of clothes. We ended up taking all of the shoes we donated. Some of the things I'm going to do the next time we do this is that I'm going to be a little bit more careful before I start donating things. There's obviously certain things that have a little more value than others, and I will hold those back, give them another round on the flea market just to see if I can get them to go. If they don't go after the second time, we'll call it it's something that just wasn't meant to be, and we'll donate it. But really, I wouldn't change. I really wouldn't change much else. Everything worked out great. Everybody had a lot of fun. So if that's the way that I've got to get rid of the stuff in order that I can keep rolling through this stuff and keep rolling more merchandise through, then that's I can't think of a more fun way to do it. So like I said, we're going to be doing this again. Next time I go, now that I kind of understand how everything works, I'll take a little bit more video while I'm there to kind of give you an idea of how things get set up. Kind of how a little bit more throughout the day, and show you, how I know you guys have all seen a flea market, but kind of just how this one is set up, how we rolled through this one. But I'm excited. I really appreciate it. If you guys, have any comments, be sure to drop them down below. If you have any thoughts or any other ideas on something we could have done different, I would love to listen to your ideas and maybe how you get rid of your stuff. But until I see you next time, guys, be safe, and I'll see you next time.